Intense was not a strong enough word to describe the pressure I felt. We were one hard-fought run ahead, and it was the bottom of the ninth. Joe's collision shop was up to bat with 2 outs, but their runner on first had just stolen second. Jordan dug in at the plate with 3 balls and 1 strike against him. As I stood on the pitcher's mound, I imagined myself to be Hoyt Wilhelm, the first relief pitcher to be introduced into the Hall of Fame in 1985, a player my grandpa was always talking about. I might only be 12, but I bet I knew more about Wilhelm and his career, thanks to Grandpa, than any grown-up who claimed to be a baseball fan. This was something I often did when in tight spots, pretending to be Wilhelm, who pitched in over 1,000 games during his 21-year career, helped me to focus through the taunts of the collisions, the yells of the packed bleachers, and the pounding ache in my head that had started about the top of the 3rd inning. Jordan backed away from the plate, giving me a moment to massage the painful cramp in the back of my neck and consider the best pitch to throw. He didn't seem nervous. Why would he be? The count was in his favor. Instead, he took a few practice swings and then tapped the end of the bat against his cleats. Stepping back up to the plate, he settled into a perfect stance, legs shoulder-length apart, elbow up, and head in. He looked as eager for the next pitch as I was to throw it. Behind me, over my right shoulder, the guy on second base bounced up and down smugly as if ready to steal third. I tucked my head down so the bill of my cap shielded my eyes from the sunlight. I'd pitched many games under the sun, but it had never bothered me so much before. Today, the bright light was more than annoying. It felt painful, making the back of my eyes throb. There was nothing I could do to protect my body from the sun's heat. Instead, the sweat seemed to spill from my pores, especially where the baseball cap touched my forehead. Salty drops stung my eyes. I shook my head, trying to concentrate. With my mitt up to my face so Jordan could not see anything, I let my right hand caress the ball inside my glove. My fingers cradled the ball in a variety of pitching holds. I had practiced the holds my father had taught me, getting my fingers used to some of the odd grips. Squatting behind the plate, Patrick signaled the next pitch, pointing 2 fingers to the ground. A curve. I shook my head. Last time I'd thrown a curve, Jordan hit a double. It wasn't that Jordan was great at hitting curves. It was more that I wasn't all that good at throwing one correctly. I was pretty good at a few different pitches, but the curve was one I was still practicing with my dad. My fingers massaged the ball's stitching the way an animal lover might pet the silky, furry skin behind a dog's ear. This relaxed me. Patrick suggested another pitch, a screwball, where the ball spins kind of weird so it goes up and down and is very unpredictable. If I couldn't throw a solid curve, there'd be no way I'd risk a screwball. I didn't want to end up walking Jordan. That would be as bad as his hitting another double. I shook my head again. I knew what I wanted. When Patrick pointed 1 finger to the ground, then slapped the inside of his thigh, I nodded in agreement. A fastball changeup. My dad and I spent hours in the yard practicing this one. All I could hear was the cheers and jeers from the people on the bleachers. Normally, spectators yelling my name was like music to my ears. Normally, imagining I was Wilhelm, playing in a major league stadium in the last inning of the last game of the World Series made the game that much more exciting. Now, I was just eager to get this over with. I needed to get to the cooling shade of our little wooden dugout, but forced myself not to rush. I glanced over my shoulder. The runner on second was leading, ready to make a break for third. I could throw the ball to Tyrone on second and hope he'd be able to tag the runner out, but that might backfire. The runner might sprint for third and make it. We couldn't afford a runner on third, not with a batter who could hit a home run on the right throw, or on the wrong one, depending on your point of view. I took a deep breath to steady myself. I let the ball sit deep in my palm. I wound up, and at the last second, just before releasing the ball, lifted my top 2 fingers off it. My pitch sped toward the catcher's mitt. Just as Jordan swung with enough power to knock the ball out of the park, it jumped slightly upward. His bat missed. The ball slammed into Patrick's mitt with a loud thump. Strike 2. Cheers erupted, clapping, whistling. My heart beat so fast I feared I might pass out. I took another deep breath and glanced at the bleachers along the first baseline where my mom, dad, and my 8-year-old sister Brenda sat. They waved at me. My father cupped his hands around his mouth.